Everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Today we're going to talk about this right here, a step drill bit, and why you should get one right now. See you right after this. Hey, you ever tried to drill a clean hole in sheet metal? All right, so we did manage to drill a hole, but look at the edges of the hole. It's all jagged and rough. Not to mention the whole workpiece started to spin on us. Why is that? Because when you use a regular twist drill bit on thin sheet metal, it ends up coming out like that, all rough and jagged. But that's when this tool right here comes into play. It's called a step drill bit. Yeah, I know it looks like a mini metal Christmas tree, but it's not, I promise you. It does have a cone shape, obviously, but if you notice, as it descends from the pointed tip on the top on downward, you see a series of steps. Each step represents a certain diameter that'll correspond to the hole that you want to drill. So this one right here is about 7/8 in diameter, and it goes all the way to 1 3/8 in diameter. But those measurements can depend on the type of step bit that you get. They have smaller ones and they have larger ones. Now the tip of the step drill bit does two things. It self-centers you on your mark, and it won't walk or skip on you like a regular twist drill bit will. So when you're working with metal like sheet metal, you won't need a center punch to keep you in place. It'll immediately start cutting once you pull that trigger. All you have to do is take it and slip it inside the chuck of your drill, just like a regular drill bit. Notice the difference between the twist drill bit hole and the step drill bit hole. The edges of the step drill bit hole has a more countersunk look to it, doesn't it? Whereas the twist drill bit hole is a little bit more rough around the edges. Now, if I wanted to make this hole larger with this, I would have to go and get another twist drill bit of a larger diameter, but not with the step drill bit. All I have to do is just continue drilling down until I reach the appropriate diameter that's on the step drill bit. If I want to make it larger, I don't have to go get another drill bit of a bigger size. That's the great thing about these. It's like having multiple drill bit sizes in one tool. Now don't get me wrong, twist drill bits are great for drilling into wood and thicker materials, even thicker metal. But when it comes to thin material, and I would say that would be anything under 1/4 of an inch, that's when twist drill bit starts giving you problems. So twist drill bits have two cutting edges. You have one on this side right here, and then you have one right here. And those cutting edges continue all the way down the shank in a twist fashion. When you're drilling through thicker material like wood or even thicker metal, the cutting edges are engaging gradually as it descends into the material. In other words, there's enough material to support the drill bit and keep it from grabbing. But once it punches through in thinner material, those cutting edges grab immediately, and it'll leave a very jagged hole once it punches through on the other end, or the material will start spinning like you saw earlier if it's not clamped down. It wasn't clamped down on purpose, by the way. That's for demonstration purposes. By the way, that can be very dangerous, especially with something like this. Thin sheet metal, that can slice you up. Now, because the step drill bit is shaped like a cone, it doesn't have that problem when drilling through thinner material. Because of its shape, it doesn't have those two aggressive cutting edges that the twist drill bit has. It cuts in a singular circular motion, and as it pushes through, it's automatically cutting the next size up. So there's no sudden breakthrough moment where the bit will grab on the material. It's just a smooth progressive cut all the way through. Also, when you use a twist drill bit on thin sheet metal, you're going to end up having to deburr your hole. In other words, smooth out the jagged edges it leaves. You don't have to worry about that with a step drill bit. As you saw, it leaves a nice, smooth circumference on your hole. That's because of the nature of the bit. It deburrs as it goes. Another thing about step drill bits that's great, it doesn't require a pilot hole. Like I said, you don't have to use a center punch either. The sharp tip starts cutting immediately. Anything larger than a 3/8 bit, you're probably going to have to use a pilot hole. Otherwise, it'll walk on you. And this is a 3/8, by the way. Now, step drill bits work best with certain materials. One of them being, as you saw, sheet metal. That can be steel, aluminum, copper, stainless, anything that you'd find in HVAC work, automotive work, or even electrical, even up to 1/8 of an inch. Something like this right here. Plastic is another good application for step drill bits. PVC, ABS, step drill bits will leave a good clean hole. No cracking, no burning the edges like a twist drill bit would. You can even use a step drill bit on thin wood, like this. Anything thicker, like this though, you want to stick with a twist drill bit. You definitely don't want to use this on concrete or masonry, any thick metal plates, or lumber thicker than 3/4 of an inch. It's just not designed for that. You'll be fighting the whole time. All right, so let's see what PVC looks like. It's a pretty clean cut, isn't it? Let's make that bigger. What about this 1/8 inch piece of metal? Don't forget, when you're cutting thicker metal, you want to use some cutting oil. And let's try this thin wood panel. Slice through like butter. A little rough around the edges though, just a little bit. That's because this is that very thin birch wood. Probably the most common use for a step drill bit for homeowners or DIYers or even tradesmen is to use it on a junction box or electrical panel. Right here you have the knockout holes that are pre-scored, so you can just knock them out and run your conduit. But sometimes you may need to customize the size of a hole to make it bigger, or just create a new hole of a certain size for a certain diameter conduit. The knockout holes may be too big, so that's why a step drill bit is so useful, because you could create any size you want, from small to large. So if you're working on cars, car sheet metal is like 12 to 22 gauge. That's pretty thin. So step drill bits are definitely useful in the automotive world. If you want those clean holes, say if you're mounting a backup camera, or you're running stereo or speaker wires, you definitely want to use a step drill bit when it comes to making clean holes in your cars, because you don't want your wire insulation to get frayed or cut on jagged holes made by a twist drill bit. If you're in HVAC, you're drilling holes all the time. So step drill bits are pretty much standard in that industry, whether it's for sensors, vent pipes, damper shafts, and just the ductwork itself and how thin that material is. These are mandatory. Plumbing, we just demonstrated, PVC, copper, even the holes in metal straps. Anything having to do with metal fabrication, even if you're installing a door, you may need to make those holes bigger on the strike plate. When it comes to clean holes on thin metal, this is what you need. All right, so there you have it. If you're gonna add another tool to your toolbox, I would get a step drill bit. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.